documenting the front lines of the AI revolution, the AI Rebels podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the AI Rebels podcast. Today, we have Brady and Zach from Flow Orchestra. Brady has been with us before for another one of their ventures, Game.ai, and they're here to talk about a new product, a new initiative that they're pursuing. Really glad to have you guys back on.
Thanks for having us back. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, definitely. I'm excited to have the two of you on this time. I'm curious.
Me too. Zach always makes me do them by myself. So
I usually throw them in there and I just leave. But today I decided to be nice and join too. Yeah,
this is great. Well, I'm super interested in your guys' story. Like the two of you, how did you end up, both specifically with Game, but also just like the two of you? How did you get here?
Pretty interesting. Zach, you go ahead and tell it since.
Sure. Brady and I met about, I would say, 2 years ago now. 2.5 years ago, I guess, at this point. And we actually met on a Web3 blockchain project that Brady was working on. And I was actually a holder in the project. And so we just went back and forth. We realized quickly that we kind of ran in the same circles. We worked in the same industry. We talked the same language. And so we just started working together more often. And we were working on this specific project. But we realized that we wanted to kind of break off and do our own thing. And so we had talked about it extensively. And, one day we decided to join forces and go do that. So we kind of broke free from that, started Game. That's when we first released, built our Game.ai app, which you can find on Apple Store, Google Play Store, all of that. That did very well. We kind of started our brand from there, but then we moved on to a book. As you can see behind me, we've got this AI for Newbies book.
Award-winning book.
Just to kind of help, again, bridge the gap between, new people entering the AI space and introducing them both to AI as a general field as well as our app specifically. So we wanted to use the book to educate and also teach people how to use tools. And so we kind of spread that out. And what we realized is that, we had built something very powerful. However, we were also building something in the background to help us run these brands, run Game AI, run Game Network, things like that. And that was something we were using internally to help us with, content creation, marketing purposes, organization, ops, things like that. We then soon realized that what we were using for ourselves to run our business was actually the product we should be offering to everyone else, because we just realized, wow, this is incredibly valuable to what we're doing. So it's going to be valuable to other people. So we shifted our focus towards what we're now calling Flow Orchestra. And so we took the product that we were using in the back end, we're packaging it up. So then we can now present it to the public and get people access to it as well, so they can start creating workflows. I'll let, Brady give you kind of the definition of what Flow Orchestra is. But yeah, that's kind of the overall rundown. So Brady and I have known each other for a while. We've been bouncing around kind of a little bit back and forth between a few different things, trying to figure out, our the product that we should be offering. And we found it. So now we're kind of sticking our flag in the ground, and we're going to be moving forward, and we're getting towards the end of development. So we're looking forward in probably the next couple weeks or so, starting to introduce people, get more people in. We've got the wait list happening now, so those people will get access first. But yeah, that was a long version of how kind of Brady and I got started. It's, there's
awesome.
so in that story, but we'll just leave it at that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and we've never met in person either.
We've never met in person.
No way.
Yeah, I'm in Georgia. Brady's in Indiana. And so we've, for 2 years, established this relationship this way, and we've, built trust and all that. And it's just worked for us. So we hope one day, we'll kind of take our, meet halfway maybe, or I'll drive up to Indy, something like that. But in the meantime, this is this is working for us. So we're
is the Big Ten SEC rivalry ever a wedge in your relationship?
yes, yeah, Indiana.
We were
Yeah,
just talking about this. Notre Dame just took us both out this year, so
yeah. So
one after the other.
You guys can
That's
bond
why I
over
had to
that.
ask.
yeah, right. I know. Yeah, sorts of.
I love that.
Anyways, yeah, Brady, I would love to hear what Flow Orchestra is on a more granular level here.
Sure. So as we were just talking about, a lot of times some of the stuff we work on just comes out of a need. And with AI, I think one of the best things about AI is its repetitiveness, or once you can teach it to do something, it can do it over and over again, which is great. You don't want to write a blog post 25 times when AI can do it for you in a minute or whatever. We started thinking about some of the things that, like the pieces of content that are valuable, like ebooks or anything that's more than just a single shot at a prompt at AI. And we started getting higher quality prompts and stacking prompts and figuring out how, if you ask this and then follow up with this and then ask it to do this based on those first two things. And when you start massaging it with chain of thought prompts and all of these things, you just, the quality of the output just magnificently rises. And so with the combination of getting more and more into where when we wanted to produce something of quality, we needed to go through this process of like 10 prompts or whatever, and then have to do that every time. So eventually, first I was like, all right, well, let me build something to where I can just do these prompt stacks and not have to do it one by one manually every time. Then, so once I got that part figured out, then it came to all right, well, let's see how we can make this automatically repetitive to where it's autonomously handling everything on its own.
Yeah.
And so we kind of built what was the stacks into flows to where we started adding more functionality, like being able to loop through things and conditional statements within, and saving to, this area of the app so that you could then post it to your blog or whatever. And so that's kind of just how everything evolved into what it is now, to where we have this fully packed in system that can do all kinds of things. Like it's user friendly for new people, but it's also developer friendly. Like the flows that we've created for our own stuff are like 100 steps, and they're just doing all kinds of things, and they're producing high quality ebooks, like full ebooks, all on its own, where all I had to do was give it my topic. And from there, it goes through the steps of determining the audience, determining the best marketing angles, determining, what is missing in the market for that this book should cover. And then it starts going through writing the outline. Then it will write the first draft of the first chapter and all this stuff. And then it will critique it. And then we'll take the critique and do another version that's the final version, all this stuff. And it will look through like a chapter and create an image prompt based on that chapter. And then the image generator will come in and generate the image based on the prompt. And so at the end, you have a complete product that took you 15 seconds and just coming up with a topic and hit and go. And then it takes it from there and formats it into an ebook and all this stuff. And so those are the kinds of things that we envision using Flow for. I think the majority of people won't get that deep into it, but it's extremely handy for tasks that like maybe have 5 to 10 steps that you have to manually do on your own each time. You can throw it into a prompt stack or a flow and save it. And then you can come in and rerun it whenever you want without changing anything. You can change just the topic and rerun it again and get completely different output. So really, we're moving into the stuff where I think people are quickly seeing that just one prompt to ChatGPT isn't going to, generate the type of quality material that if you're serious about it, that you're going to want. So we kind of moved into making it easier for regular people to do these prompt stacking kind of things in a couple different ways. So that's really what it's about. Zach, you agree with that?
No. Yeah, I was going to add on, and just because, like Brady said, I mean, it's an overall workflow automation platform, right? And so it's got AI capabilities built into each different step of it. So you essentially can customize workflows based on any of your needs, any of your business processes. So out of the gate, many of the people that we've already talked to are going to be using this more of like a creating, managing, and customizing when it comes to like a content creation process. People are going to come to us and say, they're a small entrepreneur, solopreneur, small business team, and they don't have the funds to go out and fund maybe a whole marketing department or go out and get a content creator for their brand. They could come to someone like us, pay the monthly fee, build out their flows. We'll even help them build out their flows. There's multiple ways you can build out flows. I'll go over that here shortly, but they would essentially be able to set up, every day I need 3 social media posts. Every day I need a blog. Every month I need to write a press release. And so you can schedule these things out. And so as an entrepreneur, they're always going to be built and ready to go whenever you need them. So you're not waking up every morning and having to be a content creator as well as an entrepreneur. You've already set up all the flows. You hit execute, you schedule. So therefore, they know every single day at 8 a.m., 12 p.m. and 3 p.m. you need a post. At 12 p.m. every day, you need a blog, things like that. So this is just an ongoing way to maintain consistency with your content creation. But also, you are essentially purchasing time. As an entrepreneur, time is the most important thing you have, especially when you have low funds or don't have the resources to go out and build extensive teams, right? So again, that's where we hop in. And so you can essentially get the output of, of having full marketing departments with a simple platform like ours. And the great part is that, like Brady said, anyone can use it. Whether you're an expert in the AI field, we have the ability to start flows from scratch where you can just build step 1, step 2. You can build customized assistants for each step of the flow, whatever you need. Or you can go and make your flows via JSON input, if that's more comfortable for you. But we also have pre-built templates, a lot of pre-built templates, very extensive, detailed templates that if you are a newbie and you want to just come in, you can essentially make a workflow in seconds. And then you can customize it to your own brand needs, to your own personal needs, your tone, whatever you need. And then from there on out, now you have a consistent workflow that then runs whenever you need it, at whatever time you need it, and so on and so forth. So, and then the final way you can build a flow is we also have built a workflow assistant. And that is if you were to go in as a user, you didn't want to do a pre-made flow, you didn't see anything in there that you needed, you don't have the skills to do it from JSON, you don't want to build it from scratch. You can go to the workflow assistant and say, hey, I need a workflow to help me with XYZ. It could be, I need an email series, right? And it will just go, okay, I'll build those steps for you. It'll go, builds the steps. Hey, according to what you need, these are all pieces of the flow you'll need. Is it good? Yes, no, yes. And then we can create the flow from that. And then you customize it. So there's many different ways, but what we really wanted to do was make it as simple as possible for beginners. But also, if you have the experience, you can get as detailed with it as you need it as well. So it's a very powerful system for both beginners and experts.
So if I were to build a flow with JSON, say, have you guys explored at all, like having the AI assistant available in, like, context like that, where I build a JSON flow and then I'm like, hey, highlight these, lines 9 through 14, AI assistant, help me optimize this prompt. Is that a workflow that's in there as well?
Those are very much the kind of things that we're putting the finishing touches on now. Like we have the nuts and bolts now. So now we're trying to get all of these smaller instances of where we can use AI to make it super simple like that. Right. So that's absolutely the kind of thing that we're adding in it. It's like on the verge of that at this point in time, but just a couple things that need to turn the corner across the finish line.
Yeah, I asked just because there's been a lot of studies recently about, a lot of really encouraging studies recently about using AI as a judge of of work and of its own work.
Right.
So I think that we're rapidly reaching like a point where, and I'm seeing this in my own workflows already, like the way that I prompt and the way that I optimize my prompts now, I've found that AI has gotten really good at optimizing for itself,
Yeah.
which in a way is a little bit spooky because like, dang, like how do you like it requires some level of interiority, I think, for LLMs to be able to do this. But yeah, it's remarkable, and it's going to be insane the knock-on effects that we see of that
For sure.
in
Yeah.
tools
And I
like this
completely
and
agree.
everywhere else.
Yeah. And that's kind of that was part of the impetus for creating the flow idea, is that we wanted to be able to like write this. Okay, now look how bad this is. You need to fix it. Do it better. All right,
Yeah.
do it again.
Come
Make it
on.
better. Edit it. Make it better. Yeah,
Right.
all that repetitive improvement. Yes, I agree. It's really good at doing that, and it's almost like you're tricking the AI. Like you're the one that just wrote this.
And the great thing is because we all know that in kind of the world we are currently in is everyone's forced to be a content creator if they want to get out there and spread awareness over their social networks. And so not everyone has the time nor the skills to be a content creator, right? So they would come to Flow Orchestra and essentially they could build flows that would be their content creators for them. And so therefore they can then focus on other aspects of their business.
Do you envision this potentially being able to integrate with social media platforms and automatically post things like that?
Yeah, absolutely. That's like on our top 3 list to get done. We need to integrate. We considered building it from scratch, all of the functionality, but at some point in time, it's like, all right, we can't just build everything. We can't just rebuild
Right.
every app
Yeah.
that's ever existed. So we're looking into which third-party option will be best to handle that, and making sure that it's secure and
That's
is
amazing.
easy from a user front end perspective.
Yeah.
I think from the first thing we will do will be integrate with like a make.com, to where you have access to 2,000 some apps to integrate with. And so, I mean, it's going to be more than enough. Like we're going to have to
Yeah.
restrict
Right.
the kind of things that you can do. But absolutely, yeah, I think that that's crucial to the app, because yes, it's
Right.
awesome that you can create the content within the app, but being able to push it where you need it to go, that's another big part
Oh,
of the
that'd
whole
be
saving
huge.
time, saving effort portion of it.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
whole
and that's
idea. I was
kind of
talking.
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah, that's certainly the next iteration because I mean, if you and then ideally not only posting to the platforms, but then understanding the performance of posting to those platforms as well is part of the future process where you
Yeah.
post to socials, you understand, hey, this one post that I posted on Monday morning got 1,000 views, 10 likes, and 5 shares. The one I posted on Monday afternoon got 50 likes, 10,000 views, and 20 shares. Okay, now we feed the Flow system that information, and so now it knows, hey, we need to create more of the posts that did performed better than the one
Yeah.
it did on
Yeah.
Monday morning. And so it's constantly learning, evolving. We're talking to the channels are talking back to us. That's now building, and so it's an ongoing evolution of kind of creating the content for your brand, and it's just
Mhm.
it's limitless really. And so we're very excited because once it can, we get the posting to the channels, then I mean it's essentially hands off almost,
Yeah.
and that's just wild to think that a person coming in starting their own business could have this much content creation power with really not needing a whole lot of resources. And so that's the value right there.
That's wild. Yeah, I was just talking. My brother is a chiropractor out in Utah. He just started his office a year ago,
Yes.
and his problem is, right, he focuses on clients. I need to get new clients. Puts his focus there, and he starts to get more clients, and then he obviously has to service those clients. Very hands-on chiropractor. So then his time goes to servicing these new clients, and then some of those trickle off. He's like, okay, shift focus back, and he's like in this continual like seesaw of just like, how do I just make, like, I want to do his thing is like, I just want to do chiropractic. That's why I got into this, but I'm getting stuck doing all of this like content creation and reaching out to people and all this stuff. And so this is honestly exactly what he needs,
It allows
especially
him
if
to
it can
still be a
integrate.
chiropractor
Yeah,
and let the system be the content creator. Right?
exactly.
Yeah, we're beyond the point to where there's no longer a choice. Everybody that wants to have any kind of traffic whatsoever is going to have to be creating content. You're going to have to be doing all the
Yeah.
stuff that you really didn't have to do 20 years ago and probably don't want to do now, but it's just inevitable. I mean, we see it too. Like organic posts are almost non-existent these days getting any traffic if you're not paying for the traffic coming to you. And to keep on top of everything and feeding the algorithms constant content so that it doesn't put you to the back burner and all this stuff, it's just almost too much to deal with, especially for people like us that like to do things as solopreneurs or small teams or anything like that. It's just a lot to deal with. And that's why I think the AI is so crucial, because like Zach's been saying, I mean, you can create your own team of people. And another thing and as we started with Game AI 2 years ago, that was where we really built the platform, the AI platform that we're still continuing to use and build off of, because the foundation is amazing. It allows for us to iterate different things off of it. But one of the things that Game was all about was making the communication with AI super easy for people that didn't know what they were doing. So we've continued that, and that's continued to be one of our backbones of our companies. And so all of the AIs that you're communicating with inside Flow Orchestra are all highly trained assistants on the back end. You're not just talking to a fresh chat GPT or anything like that. Like even the general assistant that you're using has been properly trained to provide better responses than just the general BS crap that everybody's going to get when they go to chat GPT and say, write me a blog post.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So then when we're talking about you can have your own team, and we've got a blog post writer, we have an editorial writer, all these assistants, they're all specially trained on their own to produce professional quality content, not just like, we didn't just say act as an editorial writer and say go, like we have pages of training documents that we've trained these assistants on. So every step of the way, you're getting high quality interactions within the flow.
And if you even needed to take it a step further, if the custom assistants didn't necessarily have exactly what you needed, that's why we also built the ability for the user to create their own custom assistants at any point. So you can easily create custom assistants with just a few fields. We've set it up again to make it very user friendly. Anyone can make an assistant within seconds again. So if you needed to train it for specifically your brand voice, the knowledge of your company, anything like that, you could do that and then share it with other people on your team. So we've got it set up where you can go in and have an account as a team, multiple seats. So Brady and I can share a team. I can build a workflow at the same time he can see my workflow. If he needs to go in then behind me and edit it after I'm done, he can do so. If I've created a custom assistant to use specifically for Flow Orchestra and our brand, Brady now has access to use that same custom assistant because he's on my team. So that's the great part, is you can build these things as a team as well and share them amongst the different seats. So everyone on that team maintains consistency, is using the same tone, the same logic, the same assistants, making sure that obviously every day that this thing is operating, it's not changing depending on who's operating it. It's staying very strict to your brand and the tone that you want it to convey. And regardless of who's operating it, that's what it will do.
So something I'm always curious about is with any AI project is the user interface and user experience. So as far as like the editing of flows goes, is it like a node-based experience, or is it more like a text editor or form?
It's more like, it's not drag and drop. I started to go that route.
It's so annoying.
It is. It's impossible to not break stuff every single time. So it's more set up like a list of steps, like a stack is what what it is. And you can move them up and down however you want.
Got it. Okay.
And the UI we will continue to iterate to try to improve it, because since I'm building everything makes sense to me. And then I'll give it to Zach and he'll be like, how do I start this? And I'm like, what do you mean how do you start it? So we kind of have to go back and forth on I just assume people are going to know exactly what I was thinking when I built this, and that's not always the case. But I think that the more complexity and features and functionality that you add into an app, the more difficult it is to maintain a clean, user-friendly UI. So that's something that we will always continue to work on. But I mean, I think that it's pretty good at the moment.
I love asking that question because I don't think that UI has been solved for AI apps yet at
I
all.
agree.
No.
No, definitely not.
Like, we have not reached the final form of them, and I don't know what it's going to be exactly. But I love seeing what people come up with.
No, I
See the
agree
way
completely.
as people approach it.
Yeah, I agree that like there's something that's going to look completely different than what we're used to, and that's going to be what I agree with you. I think that like there needs to be a complete redesign. Like we're not even capable of thinking of what the perfect UI for AI stuff is yet, and somebody's going to figure it out. But it's very interesting to think about. It's almost like philosophical.
Right.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's the point that I was going to make next. Is I was going to say I was going to be like, all right, I'm going to get real pretentious here for a second, and make the point that something that people underrate is the degree to which like the user interface shapes their understanding of the AI. I think, and I think that we're going to find more and more that essentially the user interface is more or less like the embodiment of the AI. And I think that when people start thinking about it that way, we'll see design philosophies radically shift rather than being, I feel like currently people think of it as like, the user interface is there for, at least in the most common, chat implementations of it. It's like, hey, the chat is, a joint message board for the AI and you to post to, rather than the chat being a interface that is the AI. Anyways, I've got some ideas about that further down the line that I'm excited to talk about, but I just had to get off that quick.
Yeah. No, I think
that's cool
philosophizing.
And that's why, and that's one of the reasons. I mean, I personally just like love working with Brady in general is because he's Salesforce background. He's ex-Salesforce, whatever, architect guy. And so he knows, I mean, he can develop anything, really. And then I step in and my background is marketing and digital experiences and e-commerce and UI UX. So we both have a different perspective and different point of view on how we view things. Brady's the developer. He hands it to me. I make sure that as a business user, it's easily going to be able to be used by a normal user. And then we also have, we tend to have other people as well give us input. We thrive off feedback. We may give it to, an older demo just to make sure that it's, it's easy even in that demographic. So, we use our parents, relatives, all this stuff. So we get all sorts of point of views. And so we're really working towards making it that UX UI experience as easy as possible. And I think that when comparing even what we did with Game AI, which was solely for beginners, we built that, like that was the main aspect of it. This I feel is it contains everything Game AI does plus 1,000 other items, and it's 10 times easier. So.
Yeah, we haven't even mentioned it, but obviously Flow has normal chat and normal image generation, just like ChatGPT and anything else. Like that's, we felt like at this point in time, that's like the minimum. That's the minimum requirement for an AI app. If you're going to do anything else, you need to at least have the chat and stuff too. So
yeah, and we
such
and
an
we,
easy
we
integration at this point.
We hope to envision it's kind of like the Flow Orchestra becomes people's dashboard, main dashboard, or just like their war room kind of thing, where they can just essentially run their whole business from the Flow Orchestra platform and can stay in it. And, they can see their analytics, they can run their flows, they can see their performance, they can see where their posts are going, they can, all that stuff. So that's where we're going, where, you could essentially automate your business and run everything you need from the Flow Orchestra platform. And that's where we're headed.
Awesome. Jake, you're muted.
Thank you. Have you thought about because I saw this article about AI consulting and how it's going to be going crazy, obviously. Let's say an AI consultant was like, okay, I'm going to use Flow as my base. I'm going to go in. Would there be a user where like a super user, right? Where he can set up 100 clients underneath him and they have a username. Does that make sense? I'm trying to envision like how this could be used in that realm.
Yes, we have built thus far. We've built a couple packages that have multiple seats, which function like you're saying. But we have the whole, just like every other app. You know, if you want to talk about enterprise accounts and everything, contact us. To where
Right.
we would absolutely accommodate something like that. But we do have it set up now where I think like starting with the second or third packages, they include multiple seats. And then when you have a team like that that has multiple seats, then you get to share credits and you get to share some of the upgraded chat bots and stuff that you might purchase as the package holder and everything like that. But yes, we are very much want to be set up to where either you can work with your team or you could do something like that, like an agency. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and you could, and if you were a consultant of that kind, yes, you could, because we have the ability, you can separate it by teams, right? So if you were working on one brand, you could have essentially the drop downs of all your brands if you were a consultant, and say, you know, today I'm working with XYZ company, and you could build flows for each individual brand as a consultant. And so, you know that this brand has specific process, you build it one time, you're done, right? So each and every time that client comes back, you simply go up to your teams, you find that client again, and you run the flow. And you could do that, and you could iterate that.
It's exciting.
Infinitely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
wild.
for sure. Like you as the top level, if you were running it in like an agency schema like that, you would be able to create the flow once and you could literally use it for every different brand that you wanted to. And you could go in and change the one identifier, like this is for whatever company or whatever. But you would be able to, you wouldn't even have to create it over and over again for each specific brand. You just have it once in your account and you would be able to run it for whoever you wanted.
So you could, it gives you the ability to scale insanely fast as an individual or as a small team.
Yeah.
So before we started recording, you guys mentioned that you have a demo video of it. I'd love to see it. Feels like this might be a good time to try it out. See if videos are working today on Riverside.
Put it to the test.
Let me try and share.
Jake's probably calling off camera to die of a coughing attack.
Okay. You ready to try this?
Yeah, let's give it a shot.
Okay. And there's no sound. So this is the dashboard that we first came into, and these are the pre-made flows, and this is going to go fast. I'm going to try and talk fast. But this was like a blog post generator, one of the simple pre-made flows. And you can see that it has, you go in the first step, you add your blog topic, and you can see we have placeholders so you can reference the outputs of previous steps.
Yeah.
And then it will go through and, like I was saying earlier, create the outline, create the blog post, generate the image prompt, create the featured image. And you can see, you can sit here and watch the steps come back if you want. You don't have to. It's going to come back anyway, but it will come back one by one. And then at the end, you'll have all of the content, all the images. So there's the final blog post. It created the outline first, and then I think it did a preview. Then there's the image prompt it created, and there was the image. Okay. So now we're going back to the chat. So this is the regular chat that we were just talking about, where you can just chat back and forth with whatever assistant you want. And the generate image is just like that as well. So you have your chat history and whatnot. Then here we have prompt stacks to where you can create multiple stacks. And this is like the light version of flows. So you can do this real quickly. And it doesn't have all of the power features like being able to do conditional stuff and save to this and that. This is kind of like, these are legit prompt stacks. That's all we're doing with these prompt stacks. But you can choose a specific assistant for each step, and you can save your prompt stacks. You can share your prompt stacks, or you can just run it once if you only needed it the one time. But it allows you to do these repetitive tasks that are not quite like on the level of needing to create an ebook with a flow or whatever. It's just the more simple stacks like this. So you can see it runs all the stacks in order, or all the prompts in order. It comes back with all of your answers. You can save your prompt stacks. That's what that was showing. And then we'll go into, this is the marketplace. So we have a whole bunch of different specialized assistants that you can add to your team if you want. Some of them are free, some of them cost money, some of them are teams in themselves. This is an area where we will continue to add to, just so that we make sure that we have assistants that hit the specifics of anybody that might come in there. So we have all the different C-suite people, we have different specialists, we have some stuff that's like very specific to a certain tool action. Here's the image generation. You see you have a bunch of different styles you can use. You can change the size you want it or whatever. But it keeps all track of all of your previously generated images. Download it, copy it, whatever you want to do with it. I think that tried to throw something together that wasn't like ridiculously long and boring. So we only included a very brief overview of each little couple of
Oh, that's
features.
perfect.
I'll give you a sense of what we're doing, at least.
I'd be curious,
We'll send you that.
can a prompt stack be like subsumed into a flow? So could you like say like, you create like a blog post prompt stack and you're like, hey, this is way better than, the blog post writer prompt flow that I have. I want to replace steps 2 through 5 with this stack. Is that possible?
That feature's not built, but it's extremely possible and wouldn't take much to do. And it's a very good idea. So I probably am going to steal that from you.
There you go.
In the
Make a
fine
note.
print, a little bit of
I was
credit.
going to say, just hide my name in the HTML somewhere.
Exactly.
I'm happy.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Call it the Spencer function.
Yeah. But that's exactly
Why is it called that?
where we are right now. Like
Yeah.
these are the things that from, real people, real users that we need to hear. Living in it for the last year of building it, I am just so used to it being exactly. I know exactly every piece of it.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. So when is launch? Like, what's the timeline here?
We want to start getting people outside of our like personal relations. So not hugely public, but like people we can at least know that we will value their feedback, or that
some beta users.
Yeah, exactly. We definitely want to get like a good intimate beta group to go through it, because a lot of feedback. I mean, feedback is great, don't get me wrong, but there is feedback that's more valuable than other feedback. So we want to like start with that feedback, the feedback that's going to be most fruitful for us before we push it out to a wider audience, and hopefully in that incremental iterative way we will prevent the wider crowd from having so much stuff to complain about or whatever. And then we can focus on some of the stuff that like outlier cases where somebody who is barely have ever turned on a computer and winds up on our app, they're going to have feedback that most people aren't going to have, but we need to see that feedback. But obviously those people would not be able to provide valuable feedback on anything more complex because they are at this different level. So we'll get through all the testing to everybody to get the feedback and everything, but we're kind of doing it in a managed way.
Yeah, and so right now we've got a wait list happening, and so right now we've got floworchestra.com opened up. So if you visited there, you could go right now and start reviewing the information, learning more about the platform. You could also sign up to join the wait list. Those people will get first access to the platform when we get to that point. We also know that those people will probably receive extra perks for being on the wait list and things like that. We do highly encourage you do that. This is something would be valuable to you if you're a solopreneur, an aspiring content creator. You've got a business idea, but the thought of content creation and needing to be consistent in that has held you back. This is kind of your ticket to no longer having that excuse, really. So we're excited. And so if you want first access, try it out, or even want to provide the feedback where we could potentially even help you out of the gate, a little bit more hand holding if needed, join the wait list, and those people will obviously get first treatment, best treatment, first access, all that stuff. So
yeah, and very much have the potential opportunity to influence, just like the suggestion you just made. I think that's cool. If I were to be a first tester and be like, oh yeah, I'm the one that suggested that feature, that's pretty cool.
And we've got a few companies already that we've talked to that are interested in piloting with us So we'll be, getting feedback from both from a team perspective as well as an individual user perspective. So we'll hopefully have feedback all around, but we do have a couple brands that will be using us right out of the gate. So we're very excited to do that as well.
Wow. Sounds like it's been a wild ride.
Yeah.
Very.
It is. Poor Zach. I get very interested in things very often. So Zach has to shield me from, like, if I see a commercial that's like, build your own electronic board game, like, my instinct is, oh, that's what I'm doing for the day.
You're like, done and done.
So I have to make Zach keep me on track, because I will just, there would be ridiculous features in every app, because it would be whatever caught my eye.
I love it. I just had one thought real quick with the, as we're talking about features. My background's in accounting, and so much of accounting, right, is like, okay, every month, run the financial statements, pull these ratios, and compare it against these companies, right? Not content creation, but still repetitive.
Yes.
Do you envision that, like, data analysis potentially could be part of this?
Yeah, for sure. I think that the first place we'll see that was kind of like what Zach hinted to earlier, with like marketing analytics data and stuff like that. It's getting better and better, but we're still a little hamstrung by what AI can do with numbers. Like, it's not the best in calculation.
Right.
When we're talking about something like financial numbers or accounting records and stuff like that, that's not something that you can be like, well, it's right 97% of the time, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's mostly there.
Yeah. So we definitely want to be able to bring in, a lot of people to upload their spreadsheet with their data, or pull it from whatever and chat with it or predict with it or whatever. But we definitely want to make sure that we're providing good, accurate data, because
for sure.
One screw up, one bad thing about all of it, then it's just a failure. So we have to be very careful.
Yeah. And in the same realm, I was talking to a friend who is in sales, insurance sales, the other night, and we were walking through talking about flow and kind of seeing how his processes could potentially be helped by a flow. And so we know that data is obviously essential in everything we do. So that's part of why the next iteration is connecting to other channels, because he, as a salesperson, uses Airtable as an example. He's got all of his data in Airtable, which, if you don't know, is basically a glorified Excel sheet. And so he manually will go through, his Airtable sheets and say, this is a good prospect. He's got his own, process that he has in determining who he needs to reach out to. But being able to feed his data into our system could then take his processes and identify it for him, say, hey, this A, B, C, D client are who we should go after according to the data that's in your Airtable. Maybe the next step for him then is knowing that these are the people you need to go after. Okay, now we want to create sales content to target those specific sales customers. So, and then that content would be based off of the data that's being fed. So different use case, but using data almost similar to, an accounting data would be used to get insights.
Yeah.
He's going to have his sales data to also be producing these insights that then will morph into something else as well. So we know that connecting that data and the onset is super important. And so again, that's why getting the channels hooked up is going to be super crucial.
Well, I'm excited to see it. I think I'm already on the wait list. If not, I'll sign up twice. I'll make sure I'm in there.
Show it to my mother-in-law.
Good.
Yeah, seriously. My brother, I'm going to get him in there for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah. And this is just the beginning. Like, the platform is built. So now it's just a matter of taking the time and building out the different connections to it, like the data and everything like that. That's the easier part. It just takes time. So, we envision making as many of these connections as possible. Like Zach said, we want it to be able to pretty much do everything that you need to do. And we'll get there, but we have to make sure that the footing is solid. And this first round of testing and launch it's basically the footing launch. So once we get
And if
get the feedback
you're
there.
on the wait list, I mean, shoot, send us an email. Let us know kind of what channels you use, connections you need, and that's kind of the learning process that we're doing now. Obviously, we're going to be making tons of integrations across the board, but if you want to go ahead and start that conversation with us, we want to know that kind of stuff. So as we build out, we can make sure that the first things we're building are the things that will immediately provide value to you out of the gate. So again, we're here to kind of
we'll
make
drop links and information for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's awesome. We appreciate you guys having us on here.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Before we finish off,
oh, go ahead, Spence. I was just gonna
say something that I am really liking about all of the guests that we've brought back on for a second episode is everyone it continues to reach higher and higher, and I love that. It's inspiring and makes me even more optimistic for the future. Like, we haven't had a single guest who's like, yeah, I gave up on that and like I'm doing an AI girlfriend now, That makes me so happy.
I know,
right.
Truly. And it's amazing. We've had guests on, I mean, similar to your story where it's like, yeah, we started with X. Whatever happened, we had one guy on who started a language translation idea, and Google came in and was like, actually, we have that language now, and his idea was gone. He just pivoted
overnight.
Right? He was just like, pivot. I'll do this other thing because now I have this baseline knowledge, and it's just this attitude of like, we're
and get this,
in this together, and
it's for
crazy.
Tariff scheduling.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he pivoted to this before the election, so like
crush that timing. Yeah.
Wow. So if Trump goes ahead with his tariffs, like, we know one guy who will be making money off of it.
Yeah, we're gonna be honestly
fortunate timing there.
Yeah, truly.
But yeah, he's awesome. You guys are awesome. Thank you for coming on again.
Yeah, thanks for sticking with it, and we're very excited to see Flow and where it goes. And just, I think what you've touched on, I guess I want to reemphasize because I think it's the biggest part of AI that is meaningful to me is the time. It truly, it's the ultimate commodity, right? Like every second it's gone, right? Like you never get it back. And so having this flow built out allows you to really, I mean, you can do with it what you will, but the idea is you have that option now, right? Like you don't have to, you're not chained to these tasks. You can say, automate that. Now I'm going to have time in the morning from 8 to 9 to be with my baby before it goes down for a nap. That's what I'm thinking. We have a newborn baby, and I'm like, this sounds so awesome where you can, instead of waking up, get this content created, do this XYZ, it's like, okay, that's all automated. I have some time. And then maybe use the time throughout the day for other things. But like, it's just so powerful. Absolutely. So thanks for making it a reality. Mm-hmm. It really is. It's awesome.
Yeah, I'm glad that, that was definitely the thought behind it. And almost like a set it, forget it kind of thing. You could basically have full businesses of certain types running completely untouched just on their own, just through flows and automations and everything like that. So I think that,
and like you say, you can't buy time, right? But like in this instance, you kind of can.
It's like the first time you kind of can.
You're selling time.
It's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. You guys are great. We'll drop links to Flow and all the socials. If people want to follow you, speaking of that, on social media, what's the best platforms right now?
Yeah, right now we are on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. For Twitter, it's just at Flow Orchestra, and then same likewise for things Flow_Orchestra for Facebook. But yeah, floworchestra.com is the website. We've got everything, all the details up there, and that's kind of the home base. So if you want to get information, floworchestra.com has everything you need. And again, that's where the wait list is also. But yeah, please connect with us on socials. We're going to be sharing all updates, keeping everyone privy. We also kind of share a lot of really good prompts and insights in the AI world. And, obviously we're connected with you guys, and you guys share awesome information too. So yeah, we would appreciate the connection.
Great.
Awesome.
Thanks for coming on, guys.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, guys.
Till next time.
All right.
Absolutely.